Hi guys, it's Sherill here. I hope you're well for another edition of Sherill Talks Africa. And I have got drum roll. For you, Pinky, aka Jade, and she's actually wearing pink. Yes, yes. So I just want to welcome you to my new channel, Sherill Talks Africa. As I said, subscribe. Right, we've got a really, great topic today. We've got, as I say, Jade here, and we are both classed as Obronis. Is that how you say it? Obronis?
Yeah.
Foreigners. Okay. So basically, today's topic that we're going to be speaking about is Jade's experience of being in Ghana and more. Okay. So I'm gonna ask some general questions, but like I've got my questions here because some of the interviews I've been doing, they've been going over and over, and we've got kids. And what do we need to do? We've got to get what have we got to do?
Feed them,
feed them and get back and so forth. So we're gonna stay on point today, okay? So, Pinky, tell us about yourself. And before you start, I love the earrings.
Thank you.
Can I show the viewers the earrings? Show the viewers the earrings. Earrings looking good. Okay, so where are the earrings from before we start?
These are from Ghana.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay. So where did you? Are we allowed to ask where you actually got them from in Ghana?
Yeah, I got them from. I think I got them from Cape Coast. A little shop in Cape Coast.
Okay,
yeah.
So supporting the locals.
A local, just a local businesswoman doing little accessories. So bought some for some friends, and I couldn't resist buying a couple for myself as well.
Okay, brilliant. Yeah. So see, supporting the locals. Okay, so what made you go to Ghana, Jade? What made you,
Okay, so what made me first of all go was the fact that I had at the time I was working in London. And it just happened that the department I was in, there were loads of Ghanaians, and
shout out to the Ghanaians.
Yeah.
Okay.
And a particular lady, who I now call my big sister, she and the others, they used to say, "Oh, you've got to go to Ghana. You would love it." And probably, I mean, this was back in the early 2000s. Ghana wasn't really on my radar as like a holiday destination, and but they were talking about and saying, "Oh, this is so beautiful and the food is so amazing," and they just encouraged me to go.
Okay.
So that was what first kind of, placed the seed in my mind, really.
Okay. So like you said, your big sister, she obviously, introduced you to Ghana. Okay, so how do people, I'm going to be direct now because we've been friends from 1942, you know what I mean? So how do people treat you in Ghana, generally, being a white person in Ghana, because some people are very skeptical about going to the motherland, and you have just said in the first couple of words that you had your friends were very encouraging and whatever, but how did you find it being in Ghana when you first went? How did you...
Yeah, I suppose looking back now, actually, that was probably the first. Prior to going there, I'd only ever been to Europe. I've been to Morocco. Okay, but that was probably the first time I'd been. But actually, when I went to Morocco, it was with my family, so it was the first time I was on my own, and I really felt like I was noticed everywhere.
Okay.
Like the colour of my skin made me really stand out, and...
Okay, so you know how I felt at school every day when I was in the class. The only black person in the class, like in year 7, everybody looking. But that's another video. Anyway, no, but really, was it really noticeable? Was that the airport, or was that was it, or just in the community, or was it even on the plane? Because you might have...
Yeah, I think on the plane, I didn't really notice. I think the things that stood out for me, because obviously I knew I was going to Ghana, which I knew that I was going to be in the minority as a white person. I think the things that really, there were a couple of things that really stand out for me. The first thing is, you can't walk down the street without someone mentioning the fact that you're white.
Yeah. Okay,
which I found really, didn't really find disturbed, but sometimes I just thought, I just want to walk down the street, that's someone commented on the colour of my skin.
So what did they used to say? Come on, we need to be...
They would shout Obroni at me, and then they would shout white man.
Yeah.
And first, I'm not a man. Yeah. But they would say a white man.
Yeah.
And I remember one time I was in a market in Kumasi, and I was like deep in the market. Probably not many people outside of Ghana used to probably venture in there. I was deep in them looking for some fabric.
Was you on your own, or was you with friends?
I was with friends.
Okay.
I was with actually family members of my big sister.
Yeah.
And we were going through this market, and then this little girl, she's probably 1 or 2, started crying, and the mum was laughing, and
she crying?
Oh, she thinks you're a ghost or a monster. She's never seen a white person before. Yeah.
Thinking, no, I didn't even know this story. I'm being serious. Seriously. Oh
yeah.
My gosh,
she said, oh, she's so scared. She's never seen a white person before, and I felt terrible because I scared this little girl.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Did you try to talk to her even more? That made it even worse. Like, oh
no, because she was like flood of tears. The mum had to take her away. It was really bad. So that was, and the other thing.
Sorry, you know, sorry, sorry.
No, I wasn't expecting that. Yeah. But then the other thing that I found was that a lot of people would mention the fact that would refer to the fact that as English, because I suppose obviously there's been white and then there's been English, and the whole history of England and Ghana as being a former colony. It was brought up all the time. Probably not a day would go past, and I think, you know, I was unprepared for that because it's obviously something that probably talk a bit more about now. But it was. I will be honest with you. It's quite uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And it's not really nice, but to have to think about and be reminded about constantly. But
it's the reality.
It's the reality, and you know, obviously. My discomfort is nothing compared to what people went through, but it was quite, wow, okay, like you can't get away from the fact here because, you know, this whole country has been shaped by what the English did, and they can't forget that. And when you're an English person there in front of them, you know, they're not like, I suppose with English people, we're very reserved, we don't say things, but Ghanaians will say it.
Okay.
And so I suppose I found that quite uncomfortable, but you know, I got it and I understand, and now it's not a thing for me, but that at the very beginning I found that, you know, people say, oh, you're our colonial masters, and
really?
just yeah, so and a lot of people could reflect and say, oh, you know, it's because of the English that we've got our education system the way it is and things like that. But yeah, it's not. It's quite a different. I suppose it wouldn't be like going to Ghana isn't like going to any African country because of the ties that we've got with them. Okay. So yeah, it's interesting.
So like you say, to see it from that perspective as well. So So that was interesting topic, and I learned some stuff about that. The goals. Okay, what I want to say is, you know, you did something really, really amazing before it got like really popular and so forth. You know, would you be at a business? You had a business importing natural products and so forth. Could you tell the viewers about that, because you need to know about this? This was really good, and the name was just really nice and everything. But would you tell us a bit about the social enterprise and what you were doing and so forth? Yeah,
so I had a social enterprise, and that was like a joint collaboration between myself and a really amazing social entrepreneur that I met in Ghana. She had a lot of different enterprises that were all about empowering girls and women in Ghana. So I teamed up with her and we started to make some natural cocoa butter.
Okay.
Yeah, so we so it was basically produced and then, you know, we sold it here. We want it to be very natural, fair trade, no chemicals, and it was to provide the women with skills and a way to earn an income.
Okay.
And yeah, it was. Well, I don't know. You're going to come on to the challenges. I was
going to say the challenges and things, but I was going to say like this was not just like some like. Normal run-of-the-mill so forth. You actually went through loads of different procedures and that. So could you give like some little tips, you know, because I you know, I know that you went, you know, you did do the formalities and things properly and things. So what tips could you say if anybody wanted to start a natural range, whether it was shea butter, cocoa butter, you know?
Yeah, I will say I used to get really every time they did, because most times in The Apprentice they did like a little cosmetics week and they just created a cosmetic product and then sold it out there, and it used to really frustrate me because when I had my product, it took me months and months to go through all the different testing because before you put a product on market, if you're going to do it responsibly, there are a lot of you have to go through. To be honest, I've forgotten exactly how many there are now, and I used to know them all. But you have to make sure that it's going to be stable in all different temperatures, in case different bacteria introduced, all these different things, and it takes time. They're not tests that can be done overnight, and it costs money as well. So it's a lot of investment, and so I guess for me, that's why I had to think really carefully. Like if I wanted to introduce a new product to the range, you have to really think about that. That is another thing. They have to test the packaging, whether that is compatible with the product. So all these different things that you've got to really think about. So it's not, so some people might just get up and think, right, I'm just going to sell these things and whatever, but you were looking at it more strategically and whatever and so forth. But when you used to import it and so forth, was it like slow, or was it like sometimes an Englishman time, or was it Ghanaian time? It was challenging, because I suppose the thing is there are sort of you've got to get through the red tape of 2 different countries. Okay, so that's one thing to consider. And the other thing, like you say, is that as we all know recently, anything can happen in life. COVID-19 has thrown all of us and put all of our timescales out of the window. But I think maybe what I found that in Ghana, that can be rain, and then there's no adverse weather, and then that slows everything down, and your day is delayed by or there might be like a power outage, and you can't communicate with people, and these kinds of things that we probably take a little bit for granted here. You do have to be a little bit more understanding, and time frames can get a little bit. You have to build in a few days all the time, to because I've learned like the culture as well. Like you're having to learn to slow down, and when I mean slow, I don't mean literally like that just the way of doing things a little bit. Like here, sometimes we're like but it's like a bit more, like you say, just take your time and get it done. But like you say, in business, did you used to always like know before, like you were going to be getting another batch or whatever? Did you used to like leave loads and loads of time, or before you get in the product, or how did I did. I think the thing for me was it's about building a trust and a good relationship with the people that you're working with. Right, I always knew that the people that I were working with really knew in and out how things operated in Ghana, because as a person coming new to the systems and all the the customs and everything, it was a lot for me to learn, and so I trusted the people that I was working with. So I always knew if they said, oh, there's this delay because of this, I knew that they were doing that it was in the safe hands. So I think building up that trust is really, really key if you're going to enter into like any kind of business partnerships.
So see, giving all the nuggets, Pinky. Okay then. Okay, as a mum then, as I said, originally when you first went to Ghana, you as an individual, as you said, you went on your own. But your children have been blessed because you have managed to take them to Ghana. So what was the difference, would you say, travelling as an individual and then travelling to Ghana as a mummy? How can you say it's differentiated?
I mean, it was definitely, I had to kind of like slow down even more with kids, because but I wanted them to have the real experience at the same time. So I think with kids, you want to be, they're precious, aren't they? They're your babies, so you want to be but you can't really wrap them up in cotton wool if you want them to see and experience everything. I mean, just before we started filming, we were talking about the transport, I took my kids on a tro because I wanted them to do that and to experience that. So
just explain what that is, just in case if there's anybody watching that doesn't know what
so if you so it's basically like transport that a lot of Ghanaians use. That it's kind of like a minibus really that will take you. They go on designated routes, but it's they are an experience. You know, if you ever get to go to Ghana and you've not been on one, then you have to.
Yeah.
But you know, my kids loved it, and I was like, you know.
How old were they actually when you took the children?
Oh, so they were 1 and 4.
Okay, so yeah. So little one and you know, one that's a bit more active and things. So as you say, so you said you had to slow down. You know, you wanted them to experience things, but in terms of from a children's perspective and everything, how were the children treated? How were you treated?
We were like, we were just really embraced. Everyone was so, the Ghanaians are just, it sounds like a cliche, but they are so friendly, and they really are, and they all, you know, you just genuinely feel like they just want to know you, and they will just stop. They've got time to talk to you, to hear why you're here, what's your story. They always genuinely seem happy that you've come to visit their country, and they're so proud, and they're telling you, oh, you've got to see this, you've got to do that, have you done this, have you eaten this, have you tried this? And,
actually, when you said eating this, is there any favourites that you've got for the viewers? What are your favourite foods?
So my favourites are, my favourite food is red,
okay,
and yam and palava sauce.
Okay.
And also love kelly, which is like this fried plantain with like ginger and chilli. It's really nice.
See, so Jade's really get going in, you know, she's not like, you know, just getting around it, get it all in there. So did you used to have food at like the local restaurants or the chop shops, or was you friends, like you were saying about your sister's family? How did it used to work?
Yeah, so I did, I think I suppose like it's always a bit, when I was there for a long time, I knew the places that, like the local places that I could eat at. But when I went like with the kids, I was probably a little bit more cautious because I thought they're only little, and I want to be careful with where they're eating and stuff. So at that time I was with a friend, and then he would sort of, you know, say, oh yeah, this is a nice place to eat or whatever. But yeah, they
a nice time.
It was, definitely,
But you know, the children, did they say anything to you that they remind, you know, any kind of memories that your children discuss up to these dates, or what the people said to them? Is there anything that you'd like to share with them?
Yeah, they talk about Ghana all the time, and even though they've been to quite a few places, it's the one place that they have so many memories of, those 2 weeks. So they, like my son, he actually spoke his first word in Ghana, which he always tells. He was telling someone the other day, oh, my first word I said was cat in Ghana. So that's a nice thing for him to say.
Yeah.
And and they'll always, and and that, you know, they would just come up and say, oh, you're a beautiful family, and they would say to my daughter that she used to love, because if she'd be walking down the street and they'd say, oh, you're an African girl, and she'd be so happy, and they'd say it to my son as well. And I remember this one time, because I actually went with my parents as well, so we were like 3 generations, which was lovely.
Wow. That's a memory in itself.
Which was really nice for the kids and all of us to do. And there was one time, and my son was just walking around. He was only little and tottering around, and this Ghanaian man came up and said, oh, you know, you're really lucky that your mum has brought you to Africa, you know, you're only one. He said, if your mum never does anything for you, at least you can say, my mother brought me to Africa.
Oh, excellent. So that, you know, that is, and that's what we want to encourage, you know, that more people to go and visit the Muslim motherland. And as a mother, like the man even noticed that was an amazing, you know, opportunity that you did for the children and so forth. I just want to thank you, Jade, you know, for taking the time to come and speak to people, you know, and encourage people to, you know, experience new things. But before we actually finish, have you got any like burning desires that you want to say, or anywhere you feel that somebody has to visit, or anything like that before we end, or, you know?
I just would, if you've got any kind of like desire to go to Ghana or anywhere in West Africa, I would say just go for it, because it is just genuinely, you know, I know we've just said it, but it is a cliche that everyone is so friendly, but you will be embraced there, no matter what you're, where you're from, what your colour of your skin, you know, you will be genuinely warmed, and it's just the friendliest place, and it is beautiful as well, absolutely beautiful.
I love it too. On that note, Ghana's beautiful. I want you to stay tuned. Don't forget to subscribe. Tell people about, you know, the channel, and also my Facebook group over on Facebook. Obviously, if it's Facebook group, Let's Talk Africa 2020 and Beyond with myself, Sherill. Anyway, I'm going to love and leave you all. We're going to drink our tea because Pinky loves tea here, and you know, but I've got my hot chocolate. Common, aren't I? Anyway, gonna love and leave you all now. Stay blessed and see you next time. Bye. And thanks again.